What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burrow77 here, coming to you with a quick little video on some research tips and tricks for your NRFI bets. This question came to me from JL Bougie from Josh Lander's Discord. So I just wanted to answer her and make sure that she got a nice, complete answer for this question. So, all right, pretty simple procedure here. We're going to pull up props.cash. This is where I go to get a bunch of my research. We're going to go ahead and make our section NRFIs. We're going to switch this to 2024 data, and we're going to leave it on pitcher splits for now, but we will get into offensive splits here in a second. So one of the first things I do when looking for guys or players I want to target, mostly starting pitchers, I always kind of start with the starting pitcher record, and I either pick the away or the home starter and start going through their record first. For me, it's just easier to do away since it's here on the left. Gavin Williams at 2-0 and 4-1 isn't too bad. Going against Tyler Holton, who's 0-1 and 2-1. Look, I'm just not super interested in guys with that low of the sample size, especially on the first game of the day. I'm going to continue to work my way down through the board. We get Chris Bassett, who's 7-2, 78%. That's a pretty decent sample size on away games. And 16-5 overall, which isn't bad, showing us that he's definitely better away than he is at home. But he's going up against Corbin Burns, who's 7-4 at home and 16-5 overall. I don't love that Burns is significantly worse to the NRFI here on his home record compared to his overall record. So for now, I'm probably going to pass on that one. Blah, blah, blah. I just kind of continue doing this and picking my way down through the board until I find something I like. Like here, Justin Steele, definitely jumping right off the page for me, 8-0, 14-2. I like that record, but he's going up against Tony Santillan. I don't know. Whoever the hell Cincinnati called up to pitch today because they traded Montas. This board was a little more difficult today, obviously, because it's the trade deadline. But yeah, this is just what I kind of do. I start going through, picking away at guys whose away records I like and whose overall records I like. I try and keep these kind of similar. Like a 7-2 is not going to bother me a ton. 8-3 is not super ideal, especially when a guy's only given up 4 yes FRIs. And 3 of them have been on the road. So this is kind of where it comes down to these percentages plus a little gut instinct. And I look at the pitching head-to-head matchup here. So I want to find 2 guys that have a high probability or a high likelihood, or guys whose stuff I like that might be a little more unknown and under the radar. Today's pick was David Fiesta, whatever. David Festa versus Sean Manena. So yeah, I know for a fact that the Mets are pretty bad in the first inning, and I found out that the Twins were pretty bad as well. So let me go to what I look for when it comes to that sort of stuff. We change from pitcher to offensive record here, and this will give us our team's NRFI stats for away as well as overall on the season, and then for the home team at home as well as overall on the season. 43-15 right here for 74% clip, 77-29 for a 73% clip. For Cleveland versus Detroit's 37-15 at home and 75-33 overall. The other thing I look at that I think is important, because trends do kind of continue, you can kind of figure out whose bats have been hot, whose haven't been, with the last 10 for the NRFI. The number on the left is always going to indicate a win on the no-run first inning, and the number on the right is going to indicate a loss for NRFI or a win/yes for yes run first inning. So that's just kind of how to read the props.cash board and how I start my research on this sort of stuff. Again, it seems really simple. It all kind of flows logically here. They even do a bunch of the math here for you if you want to look at implied probability of NRFI, and then you switch back from offense. You know, you get your implied for pitcher stats only. You get your implied for offensive stat or overall, or sorry. Let me use my mouse here. Yep, you get implied NRFI probability for offense only. You can do some creative math with that. Again, if you're a big Excel guy or you're a big formulas guy or you're a big projections guy, I'm sure you have a spreadsheet already made up for this. But I'm not necessarily a huge projections guy. I'm more of an eye, a gut, a feel test, plus using the data to just help me pick out some different things. Then over here, you're going to get your NRFI/yes run first inning odds. Again, these are approximations. This is just as good as props.cash can do, which is always, okay. And then I would say that the next thing I look at is we're going to have to go back over to our handy dandy baseball savant here. I guess I can zoom this in for you guys. So yeah, just, figure out which NRFI you're looking at and where you want to go. We'll just pretend I'm looking at Pittsburgh versus Houston right now. And here's how you can get some data on hitters to see how they match up with pitchers, blah, 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 blah. You click on Andrew McCutchen's name, come here to splits, click on splits. This is super helpful. This gives you the inning splits. So this is going to tell you how a guy's been doing over the course of the season in the first inning. You normally kind of assume, again, it's trade deadline day, so stuff got a little crazy today. We're going to see a few shakeups here, but for the first 2/3 of the season, if a guy's batting leadoff, second, or third, chances are they're really not coming out of those positions batting-wise, unless they do something poorly. So you're going to see pretty good trends and correlation here with how guys have been hitting season long in the first inning based on their batting order position. So anyway, yeah, you can get all the stats here. Plate appearances, at-bats, that'll do they do walks here? Yeah, they got walks based on balls. So, your at-bats are going to be your walks are going to be your plate appearances minus your at-bats. That'll give you 12. There's your walks. This will tell you how many runs they've scored, batting in the first inning, how many hits, how many doubles, triples, home runs, RBIs, strikeouts, stolen bases, yada, yada, yada. All that good baseball data you need right here for free on Baseball Savant. So yeah, you can go through that and do that with your top 3 hitters if you like. That gives you, their inning splits again down here. You can do their out splits. You're assuming no outs, 1 out, 2 outs, etc. Depending on where they're at in the order, you can kind of gain some valuable data from there. I don't particularly get into that because I don't think it needs to be that deep. I watch a lot of starting pitching. I handicap Ks, and NRFIs correlate really well with starting pitching, team trends over the last 10, and this batter data that you're getting here from the guys batting first 3, first 4, first 5 in the first inning. You don't want to get to 6. If you get to 6, that means your NFRI is likely busted, unless you're, obviously sitting there with, bases loaded and 2 outs is the only way you're going to get to 6 and still be alive there. So, yeah, you can go through and pull this individually. You can also get, home games, away games, day games, night games, leadoff. You can get leadoff stats for guys if you want. that definitely does help with the first batter, but becomes pretty irrelevant with the rest of your batters through there. So yeah, that's a basic starting point here on how I go about my NRFI research. You know, for me, it's kind of a lot of gut / mental math. I'm sure there's somebody who could teach you how to program or weight this stuff in Excel. If you want to be a models and projection person, you can take all these different numbers and weigh them against each other and stress different emphasis on what you think is important versus what, you know, the sports books thinks is important, yada, yada, yada. You can do this for guys on both teams, obviously. So yeah, once you get the lineup here and it's in Baseball Savant, it's really easy and quick to go through this sort of stuff and compare it from props.cash. So that's where I would recommend you start your NRFI research. Last but not least, before we get out of here, I will just show you oddschecker.com. This is a place I come for NRFI lines. So if I want to go down here and look at the Pirates playing the Stros, just so you know, the data in this correlates to yes FRI, even though the pitchers are kind of strong candidates for NRFI. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into it. I'm not betting it. I took my one NRFI today. It hit. We made cash. I'm up a unit. I'm calling it a day. That's really all I needed out of it. But little line shopping tool here gives you DK, FanDuel, Bet Rivers. It's not the best. It's not the most complete, but it at least gets you 3 books off the rip, so that you can go ahead and compare some of those numbers. I guess I should zoom this in for you guys as well. So yeah, gets you a little quick rundown on your numbers. And then you got to manually shop the rest of the sports books if you want to shop around and find your top of the market price. So that's where I'm at with this. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. As always, I'm Burr Oaks 77. This will be up on my YouTube page. This is going to go out to a couple of the different Discords that I run and I'm a member in. I just think this is useful stuff to get you started on one of the simplest bets, 6 outs to glory. It's a short sweat. It's an easy one to predict. Starting from the top of the order in inning 1, baseball tends to be very predictable. So yeah, this is a market that I think is very easy to attack. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please be sure to go over here and like and subscribe on YouTube. It costs you guys absolutely nothing. It helps me out tremendously. Otherwise, if you want to help out and show support more, links to join the Discord are right down here below. I have plenty of content coming out, and I will see you guys all soon. Thanks for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you at the window. Oaks out. Doses.